Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring happy marriages,
Oh, cool.
but with a bit of a twist.
Okay.
So our source material is centered around this couple, John and Emily,
All right.
and they seem to have this whole happy marriage thing figured out.
Yeah.
But it's not like a self-help book or anything.
Right.
It's more like we're getting a glimpse into their everyday lives and seeing what makes their relationship work.
Yeah. And what I think is so interesting is that they're a pretty ordinary couple.
Right.
I mean, they've been married for 2 years, faced everyday challenges just like all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
But their happiness really seems to, I don't know, radiate from the pages.
Yeah, totally. And, I think sometimes the most profound relationship advice comes from observing those everyday moments.
Oh, I agree.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
And the source highlights this perfectly with the example of John's daily coffee ritual for Emily. It seems so simple, but I'm curious, what do you think the deeper significance is there?
Well, it's about more than just a cup of coffee, that's for sure.
Right.
These small gestures, they're like tiny love notes woven into their routine.
Yeah.
It shows a conscious effort to prioritize each other's needs and start the day with an act of love.
I love that. It creates this feeling of being cared for even before you've fully woken up.
Right?
It's like a silent, you matter to me.
Exact. And it's not even just about the act itself, it's the consistency. Imagine starting each day knowing someone loves you enough to think about your coffee before they've even had their own.
Yeah.
It sets a positive emotional tone, a sense of security that sets the stage for a happy day.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the coffee, right?
No, not at all.
This teamwork extends to other areas of their lives, too, like chores.
Uh-huh.
The source mentions how they even turn chores into something fun. They're always saying teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think it speaks to this idea of shared ownership and responsibility. It promotes a sense of equality and partnership.
Yeah.
They're in it together, you know?
Absolutely. And this teamwork extends beyond chores.
Yeah.
The source also mentions how John and Emily handle disagreements,
Oh, yeah. Like what?
like choosing movies, decorating their home.
Ah, yes, the classic blue versus green curtains. We've all been there.
Right. But what's interesting is how they navigate these differences. Instead of digging in their heels, it's like they instinctively understand that it's not about winning.
Totally.
It's about finding a solution that works for both of them.
Exactly. They approach it all with this spirit of collaboration,
Yeah.
seeking a win-win, a solution where
Yeah.
both people feel heard and respected.
And the source even quotes Emily as saying, "It's okay to disagree. What matters is that we solve it together."
Powerful statement.
It really is. And it speaks to the importance of communication, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. John and Emily are a real testament to that idea. Open and honest communication.
Yeah.
It's the bedrock of any strong partnership.
Couldn't agree more.
They're not afraid to express their needs and preferences, but they do so respectfully
Right.
and with a willingness to listen to the other person's perspective.
It's like they've mastered disagreeing without being disagreeable.
Well said.
Oh, thanks.
That's a valuable skill in any relationship.
For sure.
Because conflict, it's inevitable, but it doesn't have to be destructive. It can be an opportunity to understand each other better.
And find those creative solutions.
Exactly.
And this ability to communicate, it seems to be a key factor in navigating those bigger life challenges as well.
Oh, absolutely.
The source shares a pretty poignant story about John losing his job.
Yeah.
And Emily's response is just, wow.
Yeah, that part really stood out to me too.
So John loses his job,
Mm-hmm.
and Emily, she doesn't try to sugarcoat anything or offer empty platitudes.
Right.
She just simply says, we'll get through this together.
Simple, yet so powerful.
It really is. It speaks volumes about their connection, their resilience.
Totally.
It's that unwavering support that makes all the difference,
Yeah, for sure.
that we're in this together no matter what attitude.
Mhm.
But I was curious, while reading the source, I noticed their communication style during this time.
Okay.
It wasn't just what they said, but how they said it.
Oh, interesting.
Did you pick up on anything specific?
Well, you're right. Emily didn't just offer words.
Yeah.
She really listened to John's fears and anxieties.
Right.
And John, he seemed to find comfort in sharing his vulnerabilities with her.
I see.
They created a safe space for each other to just process their emotions.
That's fascinating.
No judgment, no pressure to fix anything.
So it seems that communication in a marriage isn't just about expressing your own needs.
Exactly.
It's also about actively listening and validating your partner's feelings,
Couldn't agree more.
especially during challenging times.
Yes, it's about creating that space where both partners feel safe to be vulnerable, knowing they'll be met with empathy and understanding.
So we've seen how their commitment to small acts of love,
Right.
their collaborative approach to disagreements, and their open and empathetic communication style, it all contributes to their overall happiness.
Yeah.
But what about the fun stuff?
Oh, the fun stuff.
The source also mentions how they celebrate together,
Uh-huh.
both big and small milestones.
Whoa, I love that.
What did you think about that?
Well, that's where we see their playful side come out, you know?
Right.
Emily baking a cake for John's birthday,
Yeah.
exchanging thoughtful anniversary gifts, even just a special meal on a random Tuesday.
It's like they understand the importance of injecting joy and spontaneity into their relationship,
Exactly.
even amidst the busyness of everyday life.
And these celebrations, they're not just about marking a date on the calendar.
Right.
They're about taking the time to acknowledge and appreciate each other,
Yeah.
to create those shared memories that'll bring a smile to their faces for years to come.
It reminds me of something I read recently about the 5 love languages,
Oh, interesting.
the different ways people give and receive love.
Mm-hmm.
Did the source touch upon that at all?
You know, while the source doesn't explicitly mention the 5 love languages,
Okay.
it does provide plenty of examples that kind of align with them.
How so?
Well, like John's coffee ritual, that could be seen as an act of service.
I see.
And their thoughtful gifts and celebrations, those could be gifts and quality time.
Right.
It seems they have a good understanding of each other's love languages.
Yeah, even if they don't use those specific terms.
Exactly.
So it's not about following a specific framework. It's about being attuned to your partner's needs.
Yeah,
And finding those meaningful ways to express your love.
couldn't have said it better myself.
So it seems John and Emily have a pretty solid foundation for a happy marriage.
Yeah, they do.
But is it all sunshine and roses?
Well, no relationship is perfect.
Right.
And even John and Emily, they have their moments. And that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
How they handle those bumps in the road, the challenges they face,
I'm intrigued.
and what we can all learn from their experiences.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this part of our deep dive.
Looking forward to the next part.
We'll be back soon to continue exploring John and Emily's journey and uncover more insights into building a happy and lasting relationship.
See you then.
See ya.
As we dig deeper into John and Emily's relationship,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that no marriage is perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the seemingly perfect couple,
Right.
they have their share of disagreements.
Oh, for sure.
Like, who forgot to take out the trash?
The age-old question.
Right.
Or whose turn it is to do the dishes.
Ugh, the dishes.
Even John and Emily
Even them.
aren't immune to those everyday squabbles.
Nope, no one is.
But what's interesting is how they handle it.
Right.
They don't let these little things escalate
No,
into these big blowouts.
they've mastered the art of disagreeing respectfully.
I think you're right. It's not about avoiding conflict altogether,
No, that's impossible.
but it's more about how you approach it.
Exactly.
And I loved what Emily said in the source material.
What was that?
She said, it's okay to disagree. What matters is that we solve it together.
I love that.
There's that teamwork again.
Always a team.
It's like they know they're on the same side,
Yeah.
even when they have different opinions.
Makes a big difference.
But I'm curious, the source mentions they're both pretty strong-willed.
Oh, yeah.
So how do they find that compromise
Good question.
without one person always giving in?
Seems like they've got this communication style down
Okay.
that lets them stand up for what they need, but also be open to the other person's view.
And the source gave us some examples.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Remember the curtain debate?
Oh, yeah, the blue versus green.
The great curtain compromise of 2024.
Instead of just, being stuck,
Yeah.
they brainstormed other options.
And they ended up
A
with,
sunny yellow.
right, which neither of them had even considered at first.
But they both loved it.
It wasn't about one person getting their way.
Like,
It was about finding that third option.
that worked for both of them.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
But let's be real.
What do you mean?
Not every disagreement can be solved with a new color.
True.
What about the bigger issues?
The tough stuff.
The ones that really test a relationship.
Well, that's where their shared values come in,
Right.
and that deep respect they have for each other.
The source mentioned a disagreement about finances.
Oh, yeah, finances. That's a tough one.
Definitely a minefield.
It can be.
So what happened?
Well, Instead of getting all emotional,
Right.
they took a step back
Okay.
and agreed to be rational,
Interesting.
scheduled a time to talk about it.
Like a business meeting.
Yeah, but without the suits.
A financial summit. I love it.
Right. And during their summit,
Yeah.
they each got to share their concerns.
Without interruption.
Right. And
Or
then
what?
they brainstormed solutions together.
Focusing on...
Common ground.
And it sounds like it worked.
It did. They came up with a plan they both felt good about.
So even with a potentially explosive issue,
Yeah.
open communication, mutual respect, compromise,
It's a pattern with them.
it's inspiring,
It is.
but also
Yeah,
kind of exhausting.
I know what you mean.
Can you really approach every conflict like that?
Well, no one can be on all the time,
Right.
constantly analyzing, strategizing. And I think that's where those little everyday things come in.
You mean like the coffee?
Exactly. The coffee, the banter.
It's not just cute. It's
Mhm.
building that foundation,
Of goodwill, emotional resilience.
like making deposits in an emotional bank account.
Exactly.
When you need to make a withdrawal,
During a disagreement.
you're not overdrawn.
Love that analogy.
It's like those little moments are weaving a safety net
Mm-hmm.
that they can rely on when things get tough.
Ah.
Which brings us back to resilience.
Yeah.
The source highlighted that with John losing his job.
Oh, right.
We talked about Emily's support,
Yeah.
but what about John?
Yeah. How'd he handle it?
He must have felt like a failure,
Of course, disappointment, maybe even shame.
but he didn't let it consume him.
He didn't. What helped?
Well, Emily's belief in him,
Yeah.
she didn't try to fix it.
Or give advice?
No, she just listened.
Offered encouragement.
Reminded him of his strengths.
She held space for him
She-
to process everything.
Without judgment.
And John was able to lean on her
You will.
without feeling like a burden.
Exactly.
So it's about taking turns,
Mhm.
supporting each other.
Knowing it's okay to be vulnerable,
Yeah,
to need your partner sometimes.
it's powerful stuff.
It is the beauty of partnership.
Life has its ups and downs, but knowing someone's there to catch you,
It makes all the difference.
and that's what's so inspiring about their story.
Right.
That shared resilience.
Facing challenges without losing that love and respect.
Powerful stuff.
But I wonder,
What?
do they ever talk about the future?
The future.
What are their dreams?
That's a great question.
Both individually and as a couple.
And it leads us perfectly into the last part of our deep dive,
Okay, great.
where we'll explore their hopes, their goals.
And how they balance those with their relationship.
That'd be good.
So we've seen how John and Emily handle those everyday marriage challenges.
The disagreements, the big life changes.
Right. But what about the future? What are their hopes and dreams?
Yeah. How do they see their lives unfolding?
And how do those aspirations fit into their shared life?
That's the key, isn't it? A truly fulfilling relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just about surviving the now.
Yeah.
It's about thriving together as you move towards the future.
And John and Emily seem to get that.
They do.
They have individual dreams,
Mm-hmm.
but they see them as part of their shared journey.
Not as competing things.
Right. And the source mentions John's dream of traveling to Italy.
Oh, yeah. He's always wanted to go there.
Fascinated by the art, the history, the food.
The whole Italian experience.
Exactly. And then you have Emily,
Yeah.
who dreams of creating this beautiful garden.
A peaceful oasis
Right. A place to connect with nature.
and nurture life.
Those dreams, they seem pretty different.
They do at first glance.
Maybe even a bit at odds.
But that's where their communication skills come in.
Right.
And their collaborative approach.
Instead of seeing these dreams as obstacles,
Or sources of conflict.
they approach it all with curiosity.
And a willingness to make it work.
Exactly.
Oh, it's not either.
It's how can we make both happen?
I love that.
And that's where their shared values shine.
Mm.
And that commitment to supporting each other's growth.
It's not about holding each other back.
No.
It's about encouraging each other to be your best selves.
I heard this quote the other day.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's perfect for them.
Right.
John and Emily recognize that their individual growth makes their shared life richer.
It does.
So they find ways to support each other's aspirations.
Even if it means sacrifices, stepping outside their comfort zones.
The source mentions a conversation they had about their 5-year plan.
Oh, what'd they say?
John was talking about saving for Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and Emily brought up her garden.
Oh, wow. So right away they're talking about their big dreams.
And instead of getting defensive or shutting each other down,
Yeah.
they started brainstorming.
How to make it all happen.
What I found so inspiring
Yeah.
is that they didn't just focus on the logistics.
Like time and money.
Right. They talked about their motivations.
The deeper reasons behind the dreams.
So it wasn't just checking things off a list.
Right.
It was about understanding the meaning.
John talked about experiencing new cultures.
And expanding his horizons.
And Emily, she talked about that connection to nature.
That peace and fulfillment she gets from gardening.
And by sharing those deeper things,
They created empathy and understanding.
which makes finding solutions so much easier.
And they did find solutions. The source says they came up with a plan to start small with Emily's garden,
Okay, yeah.
using recycled materials, focusing on a few plants.
Makes sense.
And for the Italy trip,
Yeah.
they decided to do a shorter, more budget-friendly trip that year,
Oh, that's smart.
with the goal of a longer one later.
When they have more time and resources.
It shows that compromise doesn't have to mean sacrificing your dreams.
Totally.
It's about making them work within your shared life,
And remembering that life's a journey.
not a destination.
You don't need to rush.
Just enjoy the process
Savor the small wins.
and trust that you'll get there together.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
And I think that's a major takeaway from John and Emily's story.
What's that?
Happiness in marriage isn't about achieving some perfect state.
It's about embracing the journey
Supporting each other's growth.
and finding those moments of joy.
Big and small.
It's really inspiring.
It is.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left feeling hopeful.
Me too.
John and Emily show us that even when the world feels chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
love can thrive, connection can deepen,
And happiness can be found in the simplest things.
and we all have the power to create that.
You do.
Those moments of connection.
Those little acts of love and kindness.
That makes such a big difference.
They really do.
So as you go about your day,
Yeah.
think about those little things,
The coffee ritual,
the shared laughter,
the thoughtful gesture.
because those everyday choices, those moments
They weave together a tapestry.
of love, joy,
Yeah.
and lasting happiness.
And that's what it's all about.